started paying attention.
Okay, so what happened next?
Always seemed to be in the middle. She's always helping people figure out these big problems.
Yeah.
So I sat and watched. I realized she was creating the problems.
Yeah.
And then she was fixing them. So she would cause trauma in all these different people. And they didn't know it. And I didn't until I started noticing over here and over here. And that the only common denominator of these crises was this one person. And Trump likes to have a chaotic environment because then he can bluster. And our country is built upon principles of separation of church and state and the separation of the judiciary and stuff. And he's trying to defy all of that stuff. He's trying to get himself elected again. He would love to just be like Putin.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I feel like when he sees Putin, he just like very jealous of him that he can't do things that Putin does. Like he just can't have all the control, all the money in the country, all the power. I think he's just being jealous.
I love they taste so good.
Do you like it?
See, I thought you didn't. See, there's all this wood. You could build a fire here. That's what the place where we got stuck by that tree.
Yeah.
That's where I built a big fire.
Wow.
Place
Okay.
for people.
Right.
That tree fell down yesterday in the wind.
Mm-hmm. Just yesterday.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was yesterday. And it was so loud. The rain was so loud. I didn't hear the tornado go through.
I don't even think there was like yesterday was rain in the Pittsburgh area.
Right at the end of night. Just as day went into night. It was right then, at dusk.
Mm.
So, if you guys were in Pittsburgh, you might not have had that. We up here yesterday, or we in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. We're in Pittsburgh.
Where you live in Pittsburgh?
No, in North Huntington. It's like nearest area.
And I live in West Mifflin.
Suburbs.
Uh-huh.
Delicious.
He knows his way. He knows his ways.
They're going fast.
Mm-hmm.
You should have invited me. You're going to lose a couple of shish kebabs apiece.
And also, when you're being outside, you have very good appetite.
Yeah. I couldn't get that riding lawnmower to start, so I fixed that old piece of shit one today. It had half a tank of stale gas in it, and that might be all it is. But I'd never used it before. Well, I cannot install this. This is what I had to deal with today.
So, you're saying you teach kids in the college. What do you teach?
What I mostly specialize in was called material science.
Material science. What is
Which
it about?
It's engineering, knowing the types of materials and how they're used and the characteristics of the materials. There's really only 4 types of materials in the world. There's metals, there's ceramics, there's polymers, and there's composites. Composites are 2 or more things mixed together. So we have our metals, which, they're crystalline in nature, etc. And they have certain, characteristics that they all share. And, mercury's liquid at room temperature, but others aren't. We have to get them hot. But mercury acts just like anything else. You lower the temperature, it forms a crystalline, forms a solid, and polymers are hydrocarbon chains. And that's built from, your bodies are polymers.
Oh, really?
You're built out of hydrocarbons. And, oil, natural gas, all those things are
Polymers,
they're hydrocarbons. And so those are structural building blocks. And so if you analyze wood, you'll see that it has, and you can take it apart, You know, some of the first plastics were made from wood, not hydrocarbons.
Mhm.
They made it from the cellulose and the lignin, which is really in the cellulose, which is the natural glue that holds the wood together. They extracted the lignin and made glue out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Elmer's glue is a type of glue we see here. It's white glue. It has a cow's face on it
Mm-hmm.
because it's made out of boiled down cow, you know, skin and whatever parts
Oh,
are.
right.
You know? And so that's the kind of stuff I teach. But then we do stuff. I teach the students to weld.
Weld. I just forgot what it is. Oh, what's welding?
If I have this piece of metal and I want to join it to this piece of metal,
Mhm.
I can glue it, which isn't very good.
Mhm.
I can solder it, which is using a metal type of glue,
Mhm.
or I can weld it with the same material,
Mhm.
and it's one piece. And so welding is heating up two pieces of material and adding a third as a filler. You can weld plastic pipe. It's not metal, but you weld it.
Yeah.
Сварка типа?
No.
А, окей.
And forging is hammering on hot metal, like people putting horseshoes on a horse and you shape it. And so you make it from, you know, just use
How are you doing? Yeah, that's interesting.
And so once they did that, we spent most of the time in a laboratory
Mhm.
using materials and
Yeah.
figuring out how they work. This is good. It's hard to control.
Definitely. I already got two. Do you have like, you mentioned you have 7 kids, right?
Mhm.
Are they from the one marriage or?
My wife had 2 kids when I met her.
Mm-hmm.
Her first was a girl, second was a boy, both great kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted a bookend. She wanted another girl.
Wow. Okay.
So I had 5 boys in a row. I didn't mind the work,
Very unlucky.
but she never got that other girl. She loved being pregnant. So I said, okay,
Unlucky
I can
it
deal
is.
with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, again.
There's one apiece,
immigration.
guys. I've had mine too.
But yeah, like Trump makes us very worrying, very nervous. Just
He's
because,
something to be nervous about.
I mean,
Scary.
I just can't find like really, like I have the social security, I have the work authorization, I have the driver license, but still,
It doesn't matter. If there's
yeah, it doesn't matter if they want.
if he
to
gets
deport
real
me.
mad at Putin, then he'll start attacking Russian people in the United States. Come on, that's just what he'll do.
You know what
They'll
happened
say
in
you're a spy, and if they, you know, you're
World War II? Like they did like concentration like camps for the Japanese at this point back then,
They
and
did.
I am afraid that this is what might happen to like Russians or someone else or Chinese maybe.
He won't. He's talking about, he actually, you know, this place where he took those people and said they're some part of some gang,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't put them back in their own country. He took them to another country, into a place that has been documented by the United Nations to be a torture chamber. And he said out loud that he's seeing if we can put American people there too.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a scary monster, man. He's no good.
Do you think like America will just like go through it, or is it might be like
I would hope not.
the key point where America will? start
He
to fall
didn't
apart?
win, and he lies all the time. That's why my son saw through the bullshit and said no, because he lied.
Yeah.
But it's not a mandate. You know, if you look at things statistically, a mandate is you win by, you get 70% of the vote and the other guy gets 30. Or you get 80% of the vote and the other guy gets 20. You just kick someone's ass. Harris got 1.5% less than Trump. That's not a mandate.
Yeah.
It's a margin, and if you're doing things with statistical analysis, it's not even a significant difference.
It's not what you can call like an absolute win, what he claims
No,
it to
you know
be.
who gave it to him? Young black men and young Hispanic men.
That is true. Would you believe it? So,
Yes.
you know,
It's
I'm being-
asinine, and these are
I'm
people he
being-
doesn't give a shit about.
So listen, I'm being at the McDonald's one day before the election, and I just hear like a young black males talking like the way, like just hear this out. They just saying that, yo, the Trump is our like N word just because he's been shot and he's been taken to the prison and stuff just because just like us he's like our brother and stuff, you know. It doesn't make any sense. Like he's being shot and he's being taken to the I just can't, I mean, sorry, but just doesn't make any sense for me.
Well, there's a lot of sexism in both Hispanic and African American cultures, and so that slight bit of difference, they didn't like the idea of a woman being in charge.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. And, you know,
I mean, it might be not the best idea, but when you're choosing between the Harris and Trump, you'd rather, I mean,
look, he's our president.
Mhm.
More people voted for him. But it's interesting. The Democrats never even considered contesting the election. But you imagine how, if he'd have lost, he'd have gone crazy.
he would have.
Mhm.
There's been like huge uprising back to the 2020, and I just can't imagine what would have happened in Harris would have won. I mean, back then it was the storm of the Capitol, and today it might have been even worse.